Chapter 52. Blood Eveleveler. It was getting late and it was almost time for their curfew, so Quinn and Vorden decided it would be best to head back to the dorm rooms. When they arrived, they noticed that the lights were out and Peter was already in the room fast asleep. "Does he look okay?" Quinn asked, as he noticed Vorden was looking around to see if he could see any markings on his face or body. "Yeah, he seems fine, but even if he was getting bullied, he could have gone to the doctor's office before coming here," Vorden replied. "Well, I still think we should keep an eye on him. There's no way higher levels would just become friends with a lower level for no reason," Quinn said. Vorden cleared his throat loudly and started to look at himself. "Of course, there are some exceptions," Quinn said, smiling. With the other two now fast asleep, Quinn was still awake messing around with his system. He was busy watching the tutorial videos of the hammer strike. He didn't have enough points in agility to learn the flash step, but with the gauntlets, he did have enough for the hammer strike. The video contained the blonde man demonstrating what to do step by step. It was incredibly detailed, showing everything in slow motion to the point where it also described the feeling the user should have, every step of the way. Quinn repeatedly watched the video, as he wanted to learn and test it out in the game tomorrow. After finally remembering all the steps and believing he had a confident grasp on the skill, he shut his eyes and went to sleep. The next day Quinn had woken up earlier than the other two. He immediately wanted to go to the game to create his character and test out the skill he had been learning all night. Just in case the others wondered where Quinn was, he left a note before leaving. When he finally arrived, the VR room was emptier than it was yesterday, most likely because it was early in the morning and not a lot of students had woken up yet. Quinn then went on to do the same as Vorden had done yesterday. He went up to the pretty lady who stood behind the counter and asked to rent a capsule, only this time for 2 hours. There wasn't much use for his credits other than buying late-night snacks, and at the moment, not even that satisfied him. Ever since he had his first taste of blood, food was starting to taste bland. He still got hungry like everyone else, but the taste of ice cream and sweets just didn't have the same rush effect it once had. To get that feeling again, he could only get it from blood. But Quinn made sure to only consume blood when he needed to get himself stronger. He was afraid that he might become addicted to the feeling, and if he did, it would only cause more problems for him. Before entering his capsule, Quinn looked around the room and noticed some students carrying their beast weapons with them. Not all students used one like Vorden, but after watching the games Vorden had played yesterday, he did see a few of his opponents have one. Which meant most likely that the students bringing their weapons with them meant that the game was also able to recognize the power of beast weapons. Just on the side of the capsule, there was a large rectangular box, and underneath were the words written, "Beast's Weapons." So it looked like Quinn was right after all. After taking off his gauntlets and placing it into the box, the capsule started to scan the weapons. Scan complete. The beast weapon may now be used with the capsule. He then hopped in and logged into the game. Only this time, instead of logging in as a guest, he decided to register an account. Please create a user ID. Quinn thought long and hard. He didn't want anything that could give away his real identity away, but at the same time, he wanted a name that would express his newfound self. Something like Vampire God just wouldn't work and gave too much information. Plus, the idea of putting vampire in his name just sent cringe tingles running down his spine. Finally, he had settled on a name. User ID created Blood Eveleveler. The name was chosen for a few reasons. Quinn could feel his body getting stronger with each person's blood he drank. It was as if his body was evo leveling into something else, and in the future, he knew he would be stronger than he was now. He thought the name was very fitting for himself. The next step was to design his character. The body proportions of his character were the same as him, but he was able to choose what hairstyle and simple clothing he wanted on it. Quinn had always been born with black curly hair and wanted to change it but never got the chance to. Now it felt like he could be someone else. After going through all the options, he finally decided on a red spiky-haired character who wore simpler villager clothing. It looked like a farmer from an old fantasy world. Once the character had been completed, Quinn was once again teleported to the large white empty room. That's when Quinn noticed something. While in the room, Quinn was able to walk around freely and move his body just like he could outside. He was currently dressed as the character and even had his gauntlets on. Then when Quinn tried to open up his system, to his surprise it appeared like usual, showing all of his current stats. Quinn looked down at his gauntlets and immediately wanted to test something out. Blood swipe. And in that instant, a red claw-like line left Quinn's hands and scratched the ground. For whatever reason, it seemed like Quinn's system and abilities still worked inside the game.